Okay, so these are my first impressions of the all-new Apple iPad mini. And this tiny little thing might be just the one. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, I typically try to avoid doing unboxing videos because we already know what's going to come in a video, but in this case, of course, because it's coming with a charger, cables, and all that stuff, I'm just going to fly through it. Essentially, what you get is the iPad itself sitting on the top there, and as I mentioned, it's a pretty small tablet, way smaller than I ever anticipated. This is actually my first iPad mini, and as I turn it on here, I'm just going to go ahead and fly through the rest of the stuff. So next here is going to be the paperwork, which will include, of course, the Apple stickers or the Apple logo, whatever you want to call it. Then you'd have the quick start guide there. We typically don't read that. And after that, we have a power brick here, which now has a USB Type-C port so that you can plug in the USB Type-C cable that comes with this. So yes, the iPad mini, or this generation, so the mini 6 here, now comes compatible with a USB Type-C, which is a huge upgrade, major upgrade for the Apple iPad mini here. Unfortunately, of course, the regular iPad, or the iPad 9th gen, which is the one that just came out, is going to still keep the lightning port, and I will be unboxing that very soon also. I got actually both tablets. But anyway, back to the tablet itself. What you have here is a very cute 8.3 inches. And the reason I'm saying very cute is because I can cover that whole thing, with my hand. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Ivan and I have huge hands. So as you can see here, I can hold this thing. It feels like a phone, like a large phone in my hands. But anyway, 8.3 inches IPS display, or liquid retina IPS like Apple likes to call it. I believe the resolution here is 1488 by 2266. It goes up to 500 nits, so not super crazy bright, but really bright enough for something this small. So it's essentially the same display as what we had on the previous generation, except this is slightly larger. The previous gen was, I believe, 7.9, and that generation, of course, was from 2.5 years ago. This was the 2019 generation, but slightly higher resolution also on this one, but they share the same IPS display. The number one thing, maybe I should have started with this, that's going to hit you as soon as you look at this tablet, is obviously the fresh design that you have. It's been completely redesigned to look like a very cute iPad Pro or a cute iPad Air. That's what I'm saying. The screen is cute, but I really like this design here. And we have the typical suspect as usual, starting with the power button that we have here, which is a combo of a power button and also of the fingerprint sensor, exactly like it is the case on the iPad Air 4th gen. Then we have a quad setup for the speakers, which surprisingly sound very good, pretty crisp. And I'm saying that for something this size, they sound pretty good for something this size. On that same side where you have the power button, you have the volume rocker. That volume rocker is not on the typical side where Apple puts them, simply because this thing is compatible with the Apple Pencil 2nd generation. So you get to attach that to that side, and because the tablet is so small, it pretty much takes the whole side, right? So they wouldn't have anywhere to put the volume rocker. And by the way, this is my way of telling you that this tablet here does support the Apple Pencil 2nd gen. At the bottom here, what we have is a USB Type-C, which, as I mentioned, is a major move by Apple to kind of standardize more of its devices. On the back here, we have a camera, can do 1080 at 30 frames per second, and the front camera, the selfie camera, can also do 1080 at 30 frames per second, which, by the way, supports center stage, which is a fantastic feature. That's that one feature that Apple came out with on the iPad Pro, on the new iPad Pro, where you can track the subject, when you are during your video calls, right? So when you are talking to whoever you're talking to, you could move about and the camera would try to track your movement and keep you, within the frame. And when it detects that there's more than one subject, what it does is it goes into kind of this wide mode to kind of just fill in the frame with more people, with as many people as possible. So that's a pretty neat feature to have. And by the way, if you do like the video so far, please make sure to hit that subscribe button there. I truly appreciate that. All right, so I went for the base model here. This is 64 gigs of internal storage, 4 gigs of RAM. You also have the option to go for the 256 gigs of internal storage with still 4 gigs of RAM. I've only been playing with this tablet for a few hours, and I gotta tell you, I really like this tablet. I'm really liking it. I have the Galaxy Tab A7 here. The form factor wasn't bad. It's also good. It's a small tablet, but the performance is the one thing that frustrates me about that tablet. This one, however, when it comes down to performance, it's a beast. At least it's supposed to be a beast on paper. I need more time to test it out, but I have no doubt that it will perform. It's an 8, it's pushing that A15 Bionic chip, which is essentially the chip that you have on the newest iPhone, right? So the iPhone 13 is loaded with the A15 Bionic chip. So that's what you have here. In fact, this is more powerful than the iPad Air 4, right? Just based off of specs. I'm really looking forward to using this more. It's so portable, so easy. You can actually stick this in your back pocket, if you're wearing jeans or something. A couple of things that people are absolutely going to love about this tablet would be, the platform. So the specs when it comes down to performance, because it's a top-notch tablet when it comes down to performance. It passes the iPad Air 4, and we know how good that tablet is when it comes down to performance. So not only is performance very good, but you have portability going for you here. I was just walking around, in the house, going to the kitchen and just doing things on it. It's as if I was just on my phone, except you have a larger screen. I typically call these things big iPhones because they all share the same UI. But anyway, so it was no different as if I was using, like my iPhone. I was just kind of going through the screen, so day-to-day navigation, no issue there. I was watching a couple of videos, and video quality is decent. It's not like something you would get from like an AMOLED display or anything like that. This is an IPS display, so nothing really amazing in terms of the display, but essentially everything you would expect from an IPS display, right? So great color, contrast, very sharp image quality. I did test out some games on here, flawless, right? It played very, very well. So when it comes down to productivity, just the form factor is not going to really allow you to be as comfortable and be as flexible as you would be if you were using a larger tablet. But if you wanted to do that, the performance, it's loaded with the performance, with the specs that would offer you the performance to complete those tasks, right? So that's that. Another thing I'm going to bring up here is going to be the price, right? $500. Is this, I don't know, this is not my full review, but does it deserve that $500 price tag? I think for some people, people who absolutely need it, yeah, based off the specs and everything it has to offer, and if you were looking for something powerful to go for an Apple device that is powerful and that's around this size, I guess it would be good. Otherwise, $500, I don't know. I feel like maybe you should go for the iPad Air instead. Like, let's say if you're a student, and you know what? I'll let you all know in my full review of this guy. But so far, I have no complaints. I actually really like it. Maybe I like it even more because I've grown to hate my iPad Pro, the 12.9 that I have there. It's so bulky, but this guy here just seems to fit perfectly. Anyway, so that was my take off. Those were my first impressions of the all new Apple iPad mini here. Let me know what your questions, things that you would like for me to go ahead and test out on this tablet. Make sure to put those in the comment section. I'm going to catch you in that comment section. I'm also going to catch you in the next video, of course. And as always, up until that next video, stay safe out there.